Hi everyone, this is Laszlo Montgomery. I'd like to present a new podcast program that I hope you'll enjoy. In the course of my research for the China History podcast, I stumbled upon no small number of original source material written by 17th, 18th, and 19th century Jesuits, sinologists, adventurers, world explorers, and many others that offer up Western observations about all their experiences and things they witnessed in China. The one thing they all had in common was that these works were mostly all forgotten or at best remembered but unread. I thought, as I took in some of these writings, what a shame that all this stuff is languishing in antiquarian bookstores or buried in online archives. I discovered hundreds of these books. Most of this material was written by people you probably never heard of. I certainly hadn't. But these were people who, 100, 200 years ago and more, went to China and wrote accounts of their travels and what they saw. Some of this stuff is priceless. Well, when taken in the context of our 21st century world and China's great achievements in the past decades. Some of the stuff is, of course, mundane, not terribly interesting after all these years, or it's poorly written. But a lot of this material, my friends, is outstanding. Some of these eyewitness descriptions of interesting things in China they saw, or someone they met, an event they witnessed, is dished up in the most eloquent and entertaining prose. And those who appreciate that old style of writing know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not here to glorify the bad old days of imperialism when Britannia ruled the waves, or to accentuate a Chinese nation that was down on its luck during a period when a lot of these books were written. So here's how it works. Each episode I'm going to handpick some passage from one of these many works I have assiduously sought out and curated. I'll introduce it briefly and set it up before presenting it. Then, depending on how much time is needed to round up the hour, I'll close with a few remarks. So I hope you'll like this. I'm going to make it my business to track down the cream of the cream for you. There's a ton of stuff out there, and most, if not all of it, has been locked away in archives, unseen and unread for a long time. Here at the China Vintage Hour, I'm going to mine these antiquarian books that came out of that age and bring you some of the more poignant passages. I came across a lot of nice-sized nuggets. I'm going to begin the China Vintage Hour with a series of excerpts taken from the books written by Mr. Robert Fortune between 1847 and 1857. I thought this might be a good place to begin since so many CHP listeners are lovers and regular imbibers of tea. The life of Robert Fortune has been covered in the 10-part CHP History of Tea series. Starting with this inaugural episode, you'll get his story straight from the horse's mouth. And to everyone from the China History podcast community who are giving your humble narrator the benefit of the doubt and checking this China Vintage Hour out, giving me a little face, thank you for your ongoing listenership and support. Some of you have been with me since June of 2010. You can find this China Vintage Hour, as well as the long-running China History podcast and the Chinese Sayings podcast at Teacup Media. Consider Teacup Media for an occasional dose of Chinese culture. Teacup Media. I hope you enjoy the program.